Hi, Laura Duggan, Duggan Dream Homes with Remax Momentum out here in Denver, Colorado. And if this is your first time to my channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, working, playing in Denver, then hit that subscribe button and click on the bell icon so that you know every time I add a new video. So, oh my gosh, we are halfway through 2022. It's so crazy. And there is so much going on, right? Talks of a recession, rising interest rate hikes, low housing inventory. So today, let's talk about what's been going on in the Denver housing market over the last couple of months, what I'm seeing going into July, and what I'm kind of seeing, happening for the rest of the year. So over the past few months, starting, beginning of May, we have seen a decrease in the buyer pool. And although we are seeing our typical seasonal mini surge of inventory, like we do every time this year, we are still at historically low housing inventory. The houses are going under contract at an incredibly fast pace, and they are selling for full asking price. And we're actually still seeing about 29% of these buyers that are still experiencing multiple offer situations and purchasing the house for above asking price. We also must consider the inflation, right? As inflation rate rises, the mortgage interest rates rise. So a $400,000 house last year, or even the beginning of this year, 3.5% interest rate, that monthly mortgage payment was just a little over, let's say, $1,650 a month. Now, if we have that same house today at 5.5%, that's about $2,700, per month. And so that is a huge difference in your monthly payment. So that's why we're kind of seeing a decrease in the buyer pool, because a buyer who was, pre-qualified at a 3.5% interest rate might not be qualified for that 5.5% interest rate loan. And maybe they are qualified for that, but they just don't feel comfortable, paying that much more in their monthly payment. Understandably so. The old saying, there is a cost of waiting. The Denver real estate market has really shown us what that cost of waiting has been in the last year and a half. But interest rates today, our 30-year fixed mortgage rate is at 5.5%, which is still a great rate. I mean, if we look back historically 30, 40, 50 years, some decades we were in the 7 to 9% range the entire decade. There were decades where we were at double-digit interest rates, 15, 18%. When I got into the real estate market 23 years ago, our interest rate was like high 8s, almost 9%. My parents paid 15% on the house that they first built. So when you're looking back, historically speaking, even 5.5% is an incredibly great rate. I think that buyers, just think that this rate is high because it has shot up so quickly, just increasing a couple percent in just a couple of months. So I'm starting to have conversations, with people who are saying, gosh, we're going to wait. We really think the housing prices are going to decrease. And unfortunately, I just don't think that that's going to happen. Inflation isn't going anywhere, right? Unfortunately, hopefully it will not continue at the rate that it is at right now. But in order for the Fed to really get a hold of inflation, they would have to raise the interest rates higher than the inflation rate. So what that means is that they would have to raise the 30-year fixed mortgage rate to higher than 9%. And I just don't see them doing that, right? And if you're following any of the top economists, they don't see that happening either. They really think that we're going to peak out at about 6.5%, and then hopefully towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, stabilize right around 5%. So again, historically speaking, some pretty good rates. So let's talk about what we're seeing going into July, right? We're seeing less competition. We've already talked about this, right? We have fewer buyers in the market, but the buyers that we do have are strong buyers. They're highly qualified, they've got the money, and they are just waiting for that inventory to come on the market to make an offer on those houses. Also going into July, we are seeing home prices kind of flattening out. Now, not decreasing by any means, but what I mean by that is that they are not increasing, at the rate that we've seen them increase last year or even the beginning of this year. So, for example, let's say in February, we have a neighborhood and there are 3 houses on the market, and all 3 houses are on sale for $600,000 because that's what the comps in that neighborhood have said that those houses are worth. All 3 houses receive multiple offers, driving the price up. All 3 houses sell for $700,000 in April, right? So now we have sellers going on the market in that same neighborhood listing their house in June and July for $700,000 because that is now what the market has told us that houses in that neighborhood are worth. So looking towards the second half of the year, I really do continue to see a decrease in home sales, which is the number of units sold, right? There's so much crazy stuff going on in the world right now. Oil prices, grocery prices, supply chain issues, mortgage rate increases. So really, until all of these things start to stabilize, I think we're going to continue to see a decrease in the number of houses sold. Again, if you're listening to the top economists, they are predicting that once we have the final numbers for this year, we're going to be down about 13% in home sales from last year. But they're also anticipating that when all is said and done for this year, that our sales price is going to be up 7% from last year's numbers. So yes, a decrease in the amount of units sold, but we still are going to be increasing those sale prices. So I tell my clients all the time, like, when it's the right time for you and it's the right house, you're going to know it, right? It's going to be the right time in the right house. And I am here to provide as much information to you as I can so that you can make an educated decision and the best decision for you and your family if it's the right time for you to buy or sell a house. So if you're thinking of making a move, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I would love to chat with you about all things real estate and see if now is the time for your family to make a move.